Hello, everyone. I'm Darlene Corbett, the UnStuck expert. And today I want to talk about success. I know I've talked about this before. I want to talk about it again. Success. What is success? Well, that depends on how you define it. Some believe it's being successful with your relationships. Some people believe it's being successful with your passions. Some people believe it's work. Whatever it is, it does not come easy. Now you might say, oh, come on, Darlene, some people are just lucky. They are. Some people have it made. They're born in the right family, meet the right people. That's true. And you know what I say to that? Okay. And so you weren't. What are you going to do about it? Life is full of unfairness. There's no rhyme or reason. But how do you counter that? How do you counter improving your luck? I used to say when it came to dating to my clients, timing, exposure, and luck. I think those elements are there. You get in the right place at the right time with enough exposure, and you might meet the right person. But in other arenas, it also takes, and in that world too, it takes a few other elements. One is diligence, hard work. Most people do not attain great success or ongoing success even unless they work at it, whether it be relationships or work. The other thing is tenacity. I always talk about grit. I love the word grit, as I've said, but tenacity fits the acronym. So you've got hard work, right? Then you've got tenacity, going, pushing. Then you have resilience. Resilience is when you fall down. You're working at it, you can't go on, you fall down. What's resilience do? You get back up and you say, you know what? No broken bones. And even if they are, for some people, they just keep going. Those are the elements. You cannot be successful ongoing unless you have those elements. I really believe. Yes, again, there's luck, but is it true success? If you feel like everything's been given to you, I don't think so. I think people with depth really want to do it through merit and through hard work and recognize that the fruits of their labor brought them success. I want to share with you about someone I read. That's what prompted me to talk about this today. His name is Sean Patel. I may be saying his name incorrectly, and I apologize. Many of you watch Shark Tank. I don't. Not that there's anything wrong. I just don't have time. And apparently he got the attention of Mark Cuban, and he began a program called Prep Expert. I bring this up because this gentleman, he was young, he's still young, but at the time in high school, he took the SATs and he did average. What did he do? What many people don't do is he went to the library. He studied strategies, how to do it differently, how to acquire greater success. He studied and learned and developed these strategies. What happened? He aced the SATs. What did that do for him? As he would say, it opened doors galore. He ended up going to, I believe it's USC, and then he went on to medical school from there. I tell you this because so many people say they're bored. And this gentleman has some advice for young people, especially the kids in high school where they have much more time on their hands. And I just want to say this also. He had the support of his parents. His parents supported him. And that is imperative. Not always. If there's not parents involved, some kind of mentor or somebody that these young people look up to. But in any event, his advice, well, before he says his advice, he says there's two kinds of high school students. Those who play video games and just are bored and don't know what to do with themselves. And those who say, I'm going to try to develop something. I want to excel at something. And they go and they work at it and they study. You decide. Now, I tell you this also because yesterday, our mailbox was vandalized. It was thrown on the ground. And the beautiful woodwork that was paid for and created by our previous owners was destroyed, ripped off. I wasn't too happy. If anyone knows me, I had expressed a little passion. I didn't yell and scream or throw things around. I was just very taken aback. And I said, if those kids were around, I would get in their faces and say, you need to pay retribution. So I would advise parents to have bored children. One is have them pay retribution. If they can't afford it, then work for someone. Work for the person that they stole from, essentially, or vandalized. And then what I also would do, and I learned this from a client long ago. Well, it wasn't a client, really. It was a friend, an acquaintance. And she said, Darlene, her daughter followed her son. They put down a professor. This is years ago. I can't recall what the issue was. But after conferring with me, she came to her own conclusion. She said, I'm going to have them write a story or write a letter of apology or how they could have handled this differently. So I would say to these parents that have kids that do those things, make them write. Whether they write whatever, write, either have them think about what would happen if somebody did that to some of their belongings, or write about how you might do it differently going forward. Get them to think, because getting them to think will also make them more successful. I really believe it. If you get them to think, they won't forget it because they're writing a story in some element, and it will help them pave the way to adulthood, and they won't forget that. Success, diligence, tenacity, resilience. I'm Darlene Corbett again, the UnStuck expert. If you want to get positive tips on how to transform your mindsets, please visit DarleneCorbett.com. I have more things coming up soon. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, and I'm the teacher.